Now this next game was a massive indie hit that came out of nowhere. It was published by Big Mode Games, which is video game donkeys company. It was nominated for Game of the Year, and I have to say, this game really changed my opinion about an entire genre of games I talked about in the previous Beating the Backlog video. I previously talked about a game called Alwa's Awakening, which was a metroidvania mixed with a puzzle platformer. And I talked about how I did not like that style of game and I did not think it would ever work. And I'm here to tell you I'm eating my words on that, because this game is a metroidvania and is a puzzle platformer, and it works.
There's a yodel in my bottle whom I do not wish to keep, but the Zillow on my pillow always helps me fall asleep. Animal Well. Holy crap, dude. Oh man, that's Video Game Donkey's game. That's the game that was nominated for Game of the Year. Heck yeah, brother.
And it's Animal Well. The first thing that's going to stand out about this game is it's just unbelievably beautiful presentation. It has a striking art style and these incredible lighting effects and just like a top-notch atmosphere. One of the best I've ever seen in any 2D games. It has gorgeous sound design. I wish I could just let you hear the way this game sounds, but I don't put gameplay audio in my reviews because of copyright reasons. And what I love about this game is that the whole game was done in an old school programming style. And the entire game is 35 megabytes. Not gigabytes, megabytes. This huge game is 35 megabytes and it runs like a dream. Like I said, I played Alwa's Awakening and I did not like that game. I thought there were problems inherent with a puzzle platformer squished up with a freaking Metroidvania, because in a Metroidvania, you were constantly backtracking through rooms and having to redo puzzles over and over and over again drags the game down so much. However, Animal Well proved to me that a good programmer and a good game designer can overcome insurmountable challenges like that. You play as a ball of poop, as I understand it, an actual ball of poop, and you explore the Animal Well. And you have to extinguish 4 flames, solve puzzles, which are usually dexterity kind of based puzzles, which I enjoy, find items to help you out. There is no combat in this game. All you can do is outsmart enemies. It's very well designed, extremely, like shockingly so. And also as you're exploring around, you're trying to find all the collectibles in the game, which are these eggs. After you extinguish the 4 flames, you take down the final boss, which takes about 6 hours. You would think that's the end of the game. And this isn't really a spoiler, but beating the game is just the tip of the iceberg in Animal Well. After you down the last boss, the game really reveals, for lack of a better term, just the genius behind it. As you find all the eggs, you discover that there are other hidden tools you can use in the game, other hidden areas, environmental puzzles that you didn't think were puzzles. It goes outside of the actual game. For example, like there are puzzles in this game where in the background certain codes are shown, and it's different for each version of the game. And you need 50 different people out in the world to like post their codes on a website just to find this out like naturally. And then it leads you to like a website where you have to fold a bunch of origami to figure out like a secret code. What? It's real like mind F stuff, right? Okay. And it just keeps getting deeper and deeper. And the meta game and lore outside of the game, the community is huge and they're still finding stuff. And they talk about layers of the game. Like the first layer is beating the game, and then the second layer is like finding all the other hidden stuff, and then the third layer is like finding stuff outside of the game. It just keeps going deeper and deeper. And as I understand, they're still finding stuff about it. Even now, like a couple years after the game's come out. There are areas on the map people still haven't figured out how to access yet. It's just crazy. That crap's so crazy to me. And when I read about this stuff outside of the game, it's more like trying to find the Zodiac Killer than it is really playing a game. It's real strange, and I've never seen or heard of another game that went this far into that. And to tell you the truth, while I'm fascinated by it, I don't really know how I feel about it. Other games have kind of like tinkered around with this idea. For example, Star Tropics on the NES has a code in it and it tells you you need a secret message. Well, in the manual of the game, a message is written with invisible ink that you can only see by like dunking your manual in water and getting the code, okay? Or in Metal Gear Solid, when they ask you to look up the channel that's on the box and you run around the game looking for the box, but it turns out that the channel frequency they're talking about is from the physical video game box, like right here, okay? on the box. You have to pull out the box. If you rented the game, I guess you're just out of luck, right? This game is that, but times like 10,000. And I have mixed feelings about it. I really do. I just don't know how I feel about like parts of the content of the game being outside the game. I think that stuff's fun, but I also think it can detract from the game. Like in Star Trox and Metal Gear Solid, it definitely does. You can't finish the game without that outside information. At least in Animal Well, you can beat the game without any of that stuff. You can get even further into the second layer without any of that stuff. But I think what makes people so fascinated with this game is that outside of the game content. Now, I did mention that this game solves that problem of backtracking, but it's still there. And while it is handled here much better than Always Awakening, it is still a flaw in the game. I like the idea of it exploring in Metroidvanias. I love like checking off rooms and stuff. This game doesn't really have rooms on its map as much as it just has like this insanely complicated map. I didn't actually like exploring that much in this game. The backtracking and the puzzle platformer thing is still there. Even though you've been through a room before and you know how to solve the puzzle, and even though there aren't really that many enemies in this game, every time you pass through a room, you still have to resolve the puzzle and you still have to trick the enemies and get by them and stuff. And while I didn't mind it too much in this game, having to explore for all like the eggs and stuff and all the collectibles to unlock those extra special layers, it was just too daunting for me. And I knew that if I continued to do it, it would make me hate the game. That being said, the gameplay in this is perfect. It handles really well, and the puzzles are a lot of fun. They're engaging. They're really smart. Some of them are very challenging, especially some of the boss fights in this game, and some of these long, kind of drawn out passages you have to get through. But save points are pretty abundant, and resources are abundant. I think anybody with enough perseverance can get through Animal Well, and I think it's worth that journey 100%. I think Animal Well is truly groundbreaking, and it's an amazing game, and there's never anything that has been done like it before that I know of. You could spend months or even years getting lost in the lore and the deep concepts of this game, and the community around it is just phenomenal. It's just like a bunch of detectives all working together trying to solve these esoteric and like philosophical puzzles. But the truth is, if you just want to sit down by yourself and experience the game and not have to do a bunch of research outside of the game, you can do that. But you'll always know deep down you're missing out on probably like half the game. Okay, half the game is outside of the game. Folding an origami bunny rabbit on your kitchen table is part of the game, outside of the game, okay? Like that, you don't even need the game to do that part. That's freaking blows my mind, okay? Whether you can get over the idea of like having that crap be there, or whether you want to delve deeply into that and experience it, Animal Well offers something for everybody. You can go as deep as you want into this game, just like the main character can go many levels deep. You can go to that surface level, you can go a little bit deeper, you go a little bit deeper, or you can go all the way to the bottom of the well. And it's the same for you as a gamer. How deep do you want to go? But I will say this, just skimming the surface is still an incredible experience. This could be your favorite game of all time. I'm sure many people out there, this is their favorite game. And I totally get that, and I can totally agree with that. For me, Animal Well was an 8 out of 10. It is a great game, but the backtracking and doing the puzzles knocked it down a little bit, okay? Just a little bit. Still an amazing experience.